Imagine this, you're sitting in a crowded room, sharing every setback, every frustration, and every ounce of pain you've experienced. What'd you gain? Sympathy? Maybe. But does it change your reality? No. Most people don't truly care, and the few who do can only do so much. So here's the truth you need to hear. Stop broadcasting your problems to the world. Start working on the solution. Stop and think for a moment. How much time do you spend talking about what's wrong? Complaining about the things you don't have, the opportunities you missed, the setbacks you've endured? Now ask yourself this. Is any of that time making your life better? Is it fixing what's broken? Is it moving you forward? The truth is, the more time and energy you pour into your problems, the less you have left for the solutions. You are feeding the problem instead of starving it, and that's not how you win. Next. Life is going to test you. It's going to push you, pull you, and knock you down more times than you can count. But every moment you spend sitting there dwelling on what went wrong, you're giving the problem power. You're letting it own you, define you, and control you. And let me tell you something, it doesn't deserve that power. You do. You own your energy. You own your response. And if you want to change your life, that's where it starts. Finally, your energy is your currency in this world. You get to decide where you spend it, and let me tell you, wasting it on complaining is like throwing it into the fire. It's gone, burned up, and it doesn't come back. That energy could have been used to build, to create, to improve, to hustle. But instead, it was spent fueling the problem. Complaining might feel good for a moment, might even feel justified, but that feeling fades and the problem remains, still staring you in the face. Think about the people you admire, the ones who inspire you. You think they got where they are by sitting around talking about everything that's wrong? No, they used every ounce of their energy to focus on what they could do, not what they couldn't. They saw the mountain in front of them, and instead of crying about how steep it was, they started climbing, step by step, struggle by struggle. They didn't wait for someone to hand them a solution, and they certainly didn't waste their time shouting about how unfair life is. They acted. And you can do the same. But it requires discipline. It requires you to take control of your mind and stop letting it run wild with complaints. You have to learn to channel that energy into progress, into building something better for yourself. That's how you take your power back. That's how you win. Now, I'm not saying you don't have problems. We all do. Some of us are fighting battles so big that the world can't even see them. But those battles are not excuses to stop moving. They are the very reason you must keep going. Because every time you push forward, every time you put in the work, instead of the complaints, you are sending a message to yourself and the world. You're saying, I'm bigger than this problem. I'm stronger than this challenge. I'm in control. It's not going to be easy. Nothing worth having ever is. There will be days when you feel like giving up, days when the weight of it all seems too much to bear. And on those days, you might be tempted to sit down and talk about it, to vent, to complain. Don't. Because every second you spend in that place is a second you're not spending on the solution. And the solution isn't going to wait for you to feel ready. It's not going to wait for you to stop complaining. It's there right now, waiting for you to grab hold of it and make it happen. You have a choice to make every single day. You can choose to stay stuck, drowning in the negativity, or you can choose to rise. You can choose to put your energy into something that matters, into building a better life, a better future, a better you. But you can't do both. You can't complain and conquer at the same time. It's one or the other. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep letting your problems own you, keep giving them your precious energy, or are you going to take it back? Are you going to start using it to move forward, to build, to grow, to overcome? The choice is yours. But let me tell you something. Every second you spend on the problem is a second you're stealing from the solution. And that's not the life you were meant to live. Silence. It's one of the most underestimated tools you'll ever have. But let me tell you something. There's power in silence. Real power. The kind of power that moves mountains, that builds legacies, that changes lives. But most people run from it. They can't handle the quiet. They think if they're not shouting, if they're not venting, if they're not broadcasting every detail of their struggle, then they don't matter. But that's where they're wrong. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is strength in its rawest, most unshakable form. When you choose silence, you choose control. You choose to protect your energy, to guard your mind, to shield your spirit. You're not wasting your breath trying to explain yourself to people who don't really care. You're not spilling your soul to people who are just waiting to judge you or use your words against you. No, you're keeping that power for yourself. You're standing firm, rooted in your own strength, knowing that you don't need to justify your pain or your struggles to anyone. Because here's the truth. Not everyone deserves to know your battles. Not everyone deserves to hear your story. Some people will only listen so they can gossip. Others will listen just to make themselves feel better, to pat themselves on the back for being supportive. But very few will actually do anything to help you. So why waste your energy on empty ears? Why open yourself up to the opinions of people who don't understand your journey and never will? Silence forces you to rely on yourself, to dig deep into your own well of resilience. And that's where the real magic happens. When you stop talking and start listening to yourself, to your instincts, to that quiet voice inside that knows what you're capable of, you begin to grow. You begin to see solutions where there once were only problems. You begin to feel a strength you didn't even know you had. And it's all because you chose to shut out the noise. The noise is everywhere. It's in the opinions of others, in the endless cycle of social media, in the constant chatter of people who think they know your life better than you do. And the more you engage with it, the louder it gets. But when you choose silence, when you pull back and focus inward, the noise starts to fade. It doesn't matter what they think, what they say, or what they expect. What matters is what you do. Silence isn't about ignoring your problems or pretending they don't exist. It's about giving yourself the space to face them head on. It's about cutting out the distractions and focusing all your energy on what truly matters, finding a way forward. Because when you're quiet, when you're still, that's when you can hear the answers. That's when you can see the path that's been there all along, waiting for you to take it. People are going to question your silence. They're going to wonder why you're not talking, why you're not venting, why you're not doing what everyone else does. Let them wonder, let them doubt, let them say whatever they want. Because while they're busy talking, you're busy working. While they're busy judging, you're busy building. While they're busy spreading negativity, you're busy creating a life that speaks for itself. Everything starts with a gesture. What are you going to gesture about? Your silence is your sanctuary. It's where you can recharge, regroup, and refocus. It's where you can remind yourself of who you are and what you're capable of. And when the time comes, when you've done the work and overcome the obstacles, your results will be louder than anything you could have said. Because actions always speak louder than words. And the world listens to results, not complaints. But make no mistake, silence is not easy. It takes discipline. It takes courage. It takes the kind of strength most people don't have. Because it's so much easier to complain, to vent, to let it all out. But easy doesn't build greatness. Easy doesn't solve problems. Easy doesn't change lives. Silence does. Silence gives you the clarity to see what needs to be done and the strength to do it. When you embrace silence, you take back control of your life. You stop letting the opinions of others dictate your decisions. You stop letting your struggles define you. You stop giving away your power. Instead, you channel it, you focus it. You use it to build a life that's unshakable. A life that's truly yours. So let the world think what it wants. Let the doubters doubt, the critics criticize, and the talkers talk. Because in the end, none of that matters. What matters is what you do in the silence. What matters is how you use that time to grow, to learn, to overcome. And when it's all said and done, your silence will speak louder than any words ever could. Perception is everything. It's not just how you see the world, it's how the world sees you. And the truth is, the way people perceive you has power. It can open doors or shut them. It can build bridges or burn them. It can define your opportunities before you ever walk into a room. So you have to ask yourself, what story are you telling the world about who you are? What message are you sending out every time you open your mouth, every time you let the weight of your problems spill out for everyone to hear? When you constantly talk about your struggles, when you dwell on the things that have gone wrong, you create a narrative about yourself. And whether you realize it or not, people are listening. They're forming an image of you in their minds. They're deciding this is who this person is. And that image can be hard to change. If all they hear is negativity, if all they see is someone stuck in the same place, then that's what they'll believe you are, stuck, incapable of moving forward. Now you might say, but my struggles are real, my pain is valid. And you're right. It is. But here's the thing. Valid doesn't mean helpful. You can acknowledge your pain without letting it become the headline of your life. You can face your struggles without making them your identity. Because the truth is, people respect resilience, not complaints. They respect action, not excuses. They respect someone who can rise above their circumstances, not someone who gets buried under them. And don't get it twisted. People are watching. They're watching how you handle your setbacks, how you carry yourself when things go wrong. They're paying attention to whether you crumble or whether you rise. And the way you respond will shape their perception of you. Are you someone who lets the world break you? Or are you someone who refuses to be defeated? Every time you open your mouth to talk about how hard life is, you're giving people the power to define you by your problems. You're handing them a script that says, this is who I am. Someone who struggles, someone who complains, someone who can't get it together. But you don't have to play that role. You can flip the script. You can choose to let your actions, not your words, tell your story. Because actions don't lie. Results don't lie. When people see you pushing forward, despite the challenges, despite the setbacks, they start to see you differently. They start to see someone strong, someone determined, someone who doesn't give up. And that perception, that's what creates opportunities. That's what earns respect. That's what makes people want to align with you, support you, and believe in you. But it's not just about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. Because the more you talk about your struggles, the more you reinforce them in your own mind. You start to believe the story you're telling. You start to see yourself as someone who's defined by their problems instead of someone who's bigger than them. And that belief, that's what holds you back. When you change the way you present yourself, you change the way you see yourself. You start to believe in your own strength, your own resilience, your own ability to overcome. You start to see yourself as a fighter, a builder, a doer. And that belief, that's what fuels the action. That's what keeps you moving forward when things get tough. Because you know who you are. You're not your problems. You're not your struggles. You're someone who's stronger than all of it. And let me tell you something. Perception isn't about pretending. It's not about faking it or putting on a front. It's about choosing what you focus on. It's about deciding what part of your story you want to highlight. Do you want people to see the struggle, or do you want them to see the strength? Do you want them to see the problem, or do you want them to see the progress? You have the power to shape the way the world sees you, but it starts with how you see yourself. Stop talking about what's wrong and start showing what you're doing to make it right. Stop dwelling on the past and start building a future. Stop complaining about the mountain in front of you and start climbing it. Because when people see you climbing, when they see you taking action, they'll see someone worth believing in. And most importantly, you'll start to believe in yourself. Perception is power. It's the key to unlocking doors, to creating opportunities, to building a life that reflects who you really are. But it's up to you to decide what story you're telling. It's up to you to decide whether you're defined by your problems or by your progress. The choice is yours. The right people will notice. They always do. But here's the thing. They're not looking for your excuses, your complaints, or your laundry list of struggles. The right people don't gravitate toward noise. They're drawn to effort, to perseverance, to results. They're watching how you move, how you rise, how you fight through the storms. And you better believe they're paying attention, even when you think no one is. The world is filled with people who are quick to offer empty words and hollow promises. They'll tell you they're there for you, that they understand what you're going through, that they care, and maybe they do on the surface, but when the time comes to actually help, to truly invest in you, most of them disappear. They vanish because they weren't really paying attention to you. They were just offering lip service, hoping to look good or feel better about themselves. The right people aren't like that. The right people don't just hear you, they see you. But they're not looking for someone who constantly broadcasts their problems to the world. They're not drawn to someone stuck in the same cycle of complaining and waiting for sympathy. No, the right people are looking for strength, for persistence, for the quiet resolve of someone who refuses to give up. They're looking for someone who, despite the odds, gets back up every single time they're knocked down. That's what makes the difference. That's what catches their eye. It's not the noise you make about your struggles. It's the silence you keep while you work through them. It's the effort they see when they watch you grind, hustle, and fight for the life you want. That's what separates you from the crowd. That's what makes the right people stop and take notice. You don't have to shout for the right people to see you. You don't have to plead for their attention or beg for their approval. The right people notice the way you carry yourself. They see the way you show up day after day, even when the odds are stacked against you. They see the way you keep pushing forward, even when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. They see the grit, the determination, the fire in your eyes, and that's what draws them in. That's what makes them want to be part of your journey. But here's the catch. The right people are only drawn to the real you, the you that's focused, determined, and committed to growth. They're not looking for perfection. They don't expect you to have it all figured out, but they do want to see that you're trying, that you're putting in the work, that you're not giving up. They want to see that you're serious about your journey, about your goals, about becoming the best version of yourself. Duh. And when they see that, they'll show up. They'll support you, guide you, and stand by you in ways you never expected. But their support won't be handed out freely. It's earned. It's earned through your effort, through your consistency, through the way you handle yourself when life gets hard. Because the right people know that the way you handle adversity says everything about who you are. They know that how you respond to challenges determines your character, your future, and your worth as a partner, a friend, a teammate, or a leader. The wrong people will disappear when you stop complaining. They'll lose interest when you stop seeking their sympathy. They'll walk away when they realize you're not dependent on their pity. Let them go. They were never meant to be part of your journey anyway. But the right people, they'll notice your silence. They'll notice the way you shift your focus from problems to solutions. They'll notice the way you channel your energy into progress instead of excuses. And they'll want to be part of what you're building because they see the value in you. The right people recognize potential when they see it. They see the work you're putting in behind the scenes even when no one else does. They see the sacrifices you're making, the late nights, the early mornings, the grind that most people don't understand. They see the fire in you and they want to fan that flame. They want to help you grow, to see you succeed, to push you to be even better. But they can't do that if all you're showing them is your problems. So focus on the work. Focus on the hustle. Focus on becoming the kind of person who inspires the right people to want to invest in you, and trust that they're watching, even when you don't realize it. Trust that your effort is not going unnoticed. Trust that the right people see your value even if they haven't stepped forward yet. They're out there, waiting for you to prove that you're worth their time, their energy, and their support. And when they see it, when they see that spark in you, they'll be there, because the right people always notice. Life is tough, but so are you. Stop chasing sympathy and start chasing solutions. Remember, the most powerful transformations happen in silence. Work hard, stay focused, and let your success be the only story you share with the world. The less you say, the more you achieve. So, what will you choose today? Complainants or action? The answer defines your future. Take control of your life now. Rise above the noise, focus on your goals, and prove to yourself that no challenge is greater than your determination. Don't just listen, act. The world is watching, but more importantly, you're watching. Make yourself proud.